Jolie here for Seconds Out with Team McKenna, and one thing I want to speak to you guys about is the Ryan Garcia situation and the sparring, because there's been a bit of confusion on Twitter, online and things, not sure what's true, and everyone's been talking a lot of different things. But first of all, Stevie, I'll come to you. Where did it all start for you in America and Ryan Garcia and the situation? Where did it all escalate? Where did it all get out of control? But obviously, when did you first meet is the first question really.
Yeah, we went looking for a spar with Garcia, so we did. It was in Legends Boxing Gym back in 2018. I was only in America. I hadn't even made my pro debut yet, and we went looking for it because we knew Garcia was all hype at the time. We wanted to get into the ring with him. So it was meant to be a 6-round spar, and he jumped out after 4 rounds. He couldn't handle my style of fighting, and in the spar he found it really difficult to handle me. He was moving from corner to corner. I was putting him into him, and he actually lifted his front leg at one stage, and he couldn't handle it at all. He buckled under it.
Mm-hmm. And what are your thoughts, Fergal, from sort of an outside perspective? Where did it all kick off, and what are your thoughts on the spar as a whole as well?
Well, we were very fortunate to get the spar because Garcia probably thought, because Stephen was a debut fighter, he'd come from a strong amateur background, and Garcia probably thought it was just going to be a nice wee 6-round light spar. But before the spar, we had our intentions clearly set out that we were going to go in and test him in a very physical manner. So we went in with the intent to rough him up, push him back, just to see what this young kid brought to the table, because we'd seen a lot of his fights and seen that he liked to fight at long range, and he liked to keep his opponents at distance. So Stephen went into basically hunting mode, roughed him up, and as Stephen says, it was a very domineering spar. He was very aggressive, and the thing about it is, when we want to follow up with the spar, the previous, that spar was on the Monday, the next spar was to be on Wednesday, he didn't want to know. So we were taken aback by that and very disappointed, because we expected a wee bit more, but we weren't surprised.
What did you mean by you didn't want to know? Was it sort of an arrangement you guys had said to meet on the Thursday or the Wednesday, or was it like a, we might see you here sort of thing?
No, well, originally, you see, the spar was penned in for Monday, and we went and done the spar, and then after the spar we arranged that that's good stuff, let's do it again on Wednesday. But clearly we could see that he was a wee bit upset, and that probably wasn't going to materialise. We showed up anyway, and there he was sparring that Russian guy that fought Mickey Conlon, Nikitin. He was sitting sparring him, so we were taken aback by that, but not surprised.
Would you say it's certainly a clash of styles between you and Ryan?
Yeah, he can't handle my style of fighting. I'm a come forward fighter, and he doesn't like that. He likes if you stand up him and admire him and look at him and do nothing, basically what his opponents have been doing. He hasn't really fought anyone that will put it on him, and once that day comes, he will fall, and he will get beat.
And from the sparring, obviously, you say he didn't turn up the time after. He didn't want to know it again after that. What happened then on Twitter for it to escalate once more?
Yeah, I did an interview with Sky Sports, and they asked me who do they think would win the fight between him.
How long ago after sparring was this, the interview with Sky Sports?
This was only last month.
Oh, right, okay.
They were wondering how did I think the fight would go between him and Campbell, and I give my honest opinion, saying, having sparred with Garcia, I think Campbell would win, and he didn't like what I said, and he started going on Twitter, putting up things saying that I was lying about having the spar with him, that I didn't beat him up and such. So he started sending me then very nasty messages on Instagram, very spiteful ones, and I put up a few pictures to let him know how the spar really went, and he didn't like it, so he kept sending them. So I would rather get into the ring with him than send messages. He's the sort of guy that likes to hide behind a phone and send messages, but if he wants to get back into the ring again, even for a spar, I'll bash him up again.
So was it a case for you two both of being respectful, not sharing any information about the spar until he then went online and tried to make it personal?
Yeah, it was him that started to get personal about it. So once he started that, I just want to let everyone know how the spar really went and how I cut him down and what happened. Like, he was in the corner, and one stage I actually stopped because he lifted his leg. So that's the sort of fighter he is. He fights like a coward.
Mm-hmm.
And cowards always get exposed.
Mm-hmm. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, well, you know, the way we are, we're very honest, down-to-earth people, and we're well known around Los Angeles as people that come and, you know, give everyone a good spar. We're very, very modest and careful, you know, what way we handle ourselves. So when you have somebody like Ryan Garcia that, you know, is always involved in the hype and likes to talk about himself and likes to promote himself in any way he can, he was taken aback just by how the spar went. And as Stephen says, some of the messages he sent were disgusting. You couldn't even put them public. They were that nasty. So we responded in a very, very positive way, you know, just to let him know, there you go, there's a couple of pictures, how do you like that? And as Stephen says, you know, instead of, you know, sending the nasty messages and being so vocal in private messaging, you know, why does he not go and say, let's, you know, have another spar again, let's see who is the boss? Even a fight, it wouldn't matter, you know, a fight or a spar, we now know that this kid can't handle pressure. He's so used to sparring and keeping opponents at long range and trying to look nice. You know, he doesn't like getting his hair tossed. He's one of them sort of type fighters that if you lay a glove on him in the wrong place, he'd almost start crying. So his response to us, and you know, in the private messaging, you know, particularly to Stephen, was so nasty that, you know, we had to come out and defend ourselves.
Is it personal for you, Stevie?
Well, it's personal, you know, once you have a YouTube guy sending you messages on Instagram saying he did that and did this, but he did nothing really, and I'd love to get him. I'd be ready for him.
And what else did he mention on Twitter? Anything else that sort of interested you and you think wasn't particularly true? Because there's a lot of confusion that, you know, we're trying to clear up. What else did you think that he said that was just sort of a bit false information, or something that you'd like to clear up from the Twitter spat?
Yeah, he tried to say he wobbled me, and he put it up on Twitter that he wobbled me, but the only one that seemed to get wobbled in the spar was him when he was sitting in the corner lifting his front leg. Yeah, he got that confused. He actually messaged me and saying that he didn't spar me, that it was actually Aaron that he sparred, and he never got into the ring with Aaron in his life.
Yeah.
So it was quite funny that he got that muddled up. He didn't know who he had sparred or what he had did. So
are you open to spar him again? Do you want to wait till you get in the ring, in a professional ring, to fight him, or are you honestly just willing to prove a point to Ryan Garcia?
Yeah, I'd get into the ring with him right now. Like, a fight, a big payday has nothing to do with this. I just want to sort something out with this guy. This YouTube boxer thinks he's a superstar, but he'll get exposed pretty soon.
And how long down the line do you think until this fight could possibly happen?
Well, this probably at any stage we know we'd like to get Stephen's record built up a wee bit more to make it a wee bit more respectable looking, but that would show you the confidence we have in knowing that what we can do through our observations. And as Stephen says, this is nothing got to do with the financial gain. This is all just in response to the conduct of this lad, and to put him in his place, and to show him that there's people out there that won't take that sort of type conduct and are ready and waiting for him anytime he wants it.
Do you truly believe he is a hype job, or do you think you're the only people that could really take him out of there and do damage?
Don't get us wrong. He's a very, very talented fighter. He's very appealing to boxing fans, but unfortunately for him, we discovered that he doesn't like pressure. he doesn't like being manhandled, particularly by aggressive style fighters. So I can see him in the future probably fighting, nice technically skilled fighters where that don't present any sort of danger to him. If he goes in against somebody rough and tough and very physically strong, I can't see him, achieving what he thinks he's going to achieve.
Mm-hmm. And credit to Ryan, he got a fantastic knockout in his last fight against Fonseca. How do you think you'd handle Fonseca, Stevie?
Yeah, it'd be a fight that I'd be looking for in the future as well, to build me up, especially for a fight with Garcia as well, so I'd be hoping to do the same as well.
And obviously it's hard to talk about going over to America as it is at the moment, but would you do that fight without crowds? Is that how serious you are about making this fight?
Yeah, I'd do it 100% without crowd. I'd do it anywhere, anytime. So I'd want that fight anywhere.
And what else in particular in the sparring session you had was a standout for you, and that you took away and thought you could really beat this guy in a professional fight?
Yeah, another fact that people don't actually know is I was wearing 16-ounce gloves, turned up for a genuine spar, and I land over, and this prima donna's wearing a pair of 14-ounce wee small gloves, and I was wearing big 16, so he would have got it a lot worse if I had the same gloves he had on.
Why was that the case? Did he say he wanted lighter gloves, or?
Yeah, he sparred in wee small gloves, and he likes to have every bit of advantage he can get because he needs it, so he does.
Were you confident when Stevie went into the spar that the gloves wouldn't matter? The glove size?
Well, we had already our mind made up that we were going to go into that physical sort of type attitude, very aggressive style, and we already knew beforehand he wasn't going to be able to handle it. So the fact that we knew he was wearing 14-ounce gloves, it really didn't matter to us, because if that's the way he likes to do it and conduct himself, that's fair enough. But we always hold ourselves in high regard, and we stick to the rules of boxing, where 16-ounce gloves and in that sort of level of sparring. So unfortunately he was wearing 14s, but it didn't matter.
Did it fill you with more confidence that you went in there with heavier gloves and you did a job on him still?
Yeah, definitely. Once you can go in there and do that to these guys, they don't want to know, so it's good.
Well, he didn't land any punches for a start. He tried to box at long range and tried to make it an easy spar, but unfortunately, the way it went, Stephen just roughed him up. It was just far too rough for him, and there wasn't a referee overseeing the spar, so he had no one there to help him. And it just got worse and worse and worse. So when he got through the fourth round, he made up his mind that was enough.
Do you think that paid tribute to why he didn't want to spar later on that week?
Absolutely. I can see myself, even though I knew what way the spar was going to turn out, it even turned out better than we anticipated. We honestly thought he'd have been a wee bit more brazen, a wee bit more braver, but when Stephen says this guy was lifting his front knee when he was driven into corners and turning his back, I was looking and saying, oh my God, it was one of them things that you wouldn't expect from a guy that talks himself up so well, and when you see him actually sparring behind closed doors where there's no audience, he doesn't meet the expectations that everyone thinks.
Brilliant. Really appreciate your time, both of you, and good luck tonight, and hopefully I'll speak to you again both soon. Thank you.